She can't be good at being a foster mom if she can't even manage her own sexuality or her own children's relationships.
I agree.
Come on. Like, who are you trying to fool here, man? What are you doing?
Sorry to laugh. I can give you details. Like, she taught me.
No, I don't. Sorry. I'm a principal's guy.
Yes.
I don't do details, right? So she has 3 children by 3 different men. Oh, sorry. She has 2 children by 2 different men.
Yes.
And then she adopts and she puts herself forward as an expert on parenting and childcare when she raises one son who wants to murder his sister.
Yes. Correct.
Like, don't tell me about her skills in childcare.
I agree.
So where are you getting this? Like, why are you trying to snow job me with this 4 nonsense? Oh, I give her an 80.
From perspective, like it was the typical thing where she was good with the kids who were not hers. Like, but when it came to me and Cravey, me and Cravey would fight, and she would try to stop us from fighting in front of the other kids because you said it would look bad and it would inspire that behavior in the other kids. So I'm thinking like,
No, okay, hang on. Why did your mother not want you and your sister to fight in front of the foster children?
I think it was so also the children would not get one thing, they would not absorb the behaviors and act it out so that I forget what they're called, the OCS people, they have people who would come through and check and stuff so that they would not.
Yeah, she wanted to keep the money. She wanted to keep the money coming in.
Yes.
So she didn't care about you guys fighting. She only cared about the free money from the government.
Yes, I agree. Because if that was the case, she would have stopped the fighting after the kids were gone, after foster care was over. And that was not.
Well, she would have prevented the fighting from getting to that degree in the first place.
Also very true.
And if she cared about the health and well-being of children, she wouldn't have had you with a hardened criminal.
Hardcore agree.
Right. Okay, so why are you defending your mom and praising her?
I think because onefold, she taught me things that have I talked to people over the years, they have never been told. She sat me down when I was younger and she taught me about molesters, and she told me, you tell me if somebody touches you here, you tell me about this and that, and you told me about that stuff. And none of my friends, right, people I grew up with, they said their parents have never warned them about molestation. And I was like, wow, really? I thought this was normal to be sat down and warned about it.
Well, let me ask you this. Did your mother bring boyfriends into the home?
Negative.
So she didn't date after the photographer?
So, I got a juicy backstory for the reason why I could tell you. So she kind of dipped her toe in it a little bit. She didn't really want to bring guys around. So she mostly found babysitters and left the house when she did date, which was very seldom. There was like 2 guys, or was it 1 guy? It was like 1 guy from that we met at Costco. She was talking to him at Costco and he worked there. He asked her out and she left the house to go date him. But, oh no, there was a second guy. We met, you know what? I'm just freaking out. We met him also at the store and he asked her out. We went to his place to hang out. And then after that one time, we never went back again and she just cut things off with him. So she didn't really try to bring guys around. And when I questioned her when I was younger about having a father figure around, she said, oh, do you want a stepdad? And then she said certain things like, do you want a guy around the house? Do you want, a guy telling you what to do? Or do you want to be corrected? Are you going to be corrected on this and that? Me and my sister, my middle sister, because the other sister wasn't born yet, looked at each other and we both said no. Mom said, okay then. And then she continued. She might have still dated the Costco guy, but she did not hardcore bring him around. He knocked at the door. Maybe he stood in the door.
Sorry, hang on.
Sorry.
So no, it's fine. So your mother told you that the only thing a man would do is order you around.
Felt that way. It was leading to things. And
no, that's what you told me she said. It's not a feeling. And I'm not saying you've got the exact phrase or whatever it is, right? But you said, hey, I kind of need a father influence. And she said, oh, you want a guy just ordering you around and telling you what to do?
Sorry to laugh.
Okay, it's not funny. How did she characterize having a father or a father influence?
Negatively.
Right. So that's manipulative.
Yes. It is.
That's framing things in such a way that you're going to have to say no, and then she can say, hey, well, I gave you the choice.
You're correct.
What she's saying is that she can't attract or keep a quality guy.
Ooh.
Because a quality guy, a quality male presence, would not just give you orders or tell you what to do, or, like, I mean, that wouldn't be the case. He would love you and inspire you and engage with you and play with you and teach you lessons and be a blast and be great and be fun and be wise and, like, you know that, right?
I do, because I'm a father myself. Absolutely.
So is all you do order your kids around like some sergeant?
Heck yeah. No, absolutely not.
Right, so your mother was lying.
Yeah, it was a trick.
Right. Now, why could your mother not attract a quality man? I assume she was pretty enough that she's being asked out in cold approaches at Costco, right?
Oh, man. I've just seen cold approaches growing up, from men to my mom being a young boy looking up. Yeah, that was a wild experience.
Okay, so your mother was very attractive to the point where men are willing to ask her out and date her, even though they know she has children, right?
Correct.
So why could she not attract a quality man?
I think she might have given herself excuses, and she, sorry, my son is right here. My wife is trying to use the restroom, moving around to the living room. So she had an attraction to bad guys because her dad was a bad guy, and she didn't do...
No. Don't try and domino this stuff. I don't know why people still try to do this stuff with me.
Bad habit.
I will not let you give the impression to my audience that your mother has no free will. I will not let you give her the excuse.
Can I try again?
Well, no, but I mean, just be aware of that. Like, why would you say to me and to my audience that the reason your mother made her choices is that she was a completely empty-headed robot machine programmed by her own childhood and had no choice to do anything different? You said because she was attracted to bad boys because her father was a bad guy. Nope. I mean, you know that I married a mental health professional, though my mother was crazy, right?
Absolutely.
Now, could I say, well, I have to be with a crazy woman because my mother was crazy?
Correct. That would be...
So why you're unconscious when we're talking about your mother. You're not alert. You're not aware. You're not conscious in the conversation. Because when I point this out, it makes sense, right?
Correct. I was trying to give multiple, but yeah.
I'm sorry, what?
Sorry to interrupt. I know that it's not the true, I know that it's an excuse. I absolutely already know it's an excuse when I was saying it, that because her dad was this way, she chose these things. I was going to say that she...
No, you didn't say she chose these things. Because if you say she was attracted to bad boys because her father was a bad boy, you're giving me dominoes. You're giving me causality.
Correct.
So, why?
Oh, I guess... Because, I know that's not true when I say it. It must be programmed. It must be like a muscle that I have. Or something that I know that's not true.
Okay. So why in a philosophy show are you saying things that are not true and bad? It's bad to say there's no free will. It is all causality based on prior history.
I agree. It's bad. I'm going to say this is weird. I'm not sure why I'm giving you that stuff. I thought I was giving something, I thought I was trying to lead toward the backstory, but I think that it's my mom's excuse to chase bad boys because that's probably what gets her off. And I was going to say it leads to her own childhood, but I know that it's not. I know we're not locked in because I've changed. I'm probably the only one in my family.
Okay, so why do you give your mother excuses?
Probably because I'm holding on to the last thread of her, because I've already...
Well, that's all very abstract. I mean, you know as well as I do, and I'm just going to cut through the fog here. You give your mother bad excuses because that is the requirement. of being in a relationship with her.
I have to push.
Because if you don't give her excuses, what happens?
Yeah, I think what it would say I have to cut her off, but I already grilled her though.
No, I didn't. I don't mean in terms of like consequences. I don't know anything about that. But if you don't give any excuses to your mother and say that she voluntarily chose to have unprotected sex with habitual criminals, or at least one, and you don't give her any excuses and you hold her fully accountable for her choices as an adult, what happens?
Please tell me.
Well, did she hold you at all accountable for any bad decisions when you were a child?
Absolutely.
Okay. So she said, you are responsible for your decisions as a child, despite the fact that you're growing up in very difficult circumstances.
Yes.
Right? So, if you take that ethic and say, okay, how old was your mom when she had you?
18 or 19?
Okay. And how old was she when she had your sister?
I'm gonna say she had me when she was 18. She had my sister when she was 19.
Okay. So, obviously, that's young, but a legal adult, right?
Correct.
Okay. So, when you were in your single digits, your mother held you responsible. And has your mother ever taken responsibility for having unprotected sex with a known habitual criminal?
I'm going to say yes because I called her out various times as a kid, and she said that she made some bad choices. And it's kind of foggy. I don't want to interrupt if you're still going.
Okay. She made some bad choices. Okay, so she doesn't give herself that excuse. She didn't say, well, I had to because my father was a bad guy. Okay. So, why did she not intervene when you and your sister were fighting violently?
You had
Or intervene in an effective manner?
a something that leads to this. You had on one of your calls, you said something that really stuck with me years and years and years ago, and you said that parents might engineer their children to fight so they don't team up against the parent. And I think that's the reason, because of certain things that happened, or at least one big thing that happened.
Okay. What was the one big thing?
There was a time, God, I was single digits. It's like our old upstairs apartment, and I remember it's like daytime. It was so vibrant, and my mom, I think we went to the store. This was before the third sibling was born. We went to the store, and mom said she would get us something, and she didn't get us those things, probably like toys or food or something. We got home, me and my middle sister, who rarely team up, both called her a liar. And she got angry and turned to us and said, "Don't call me a liar." And we both teamed up and we said, "You said you would get us these things. You said you would do these things. You did not do these things." And me and my middle sister, me and Cravey, we're like teammates. We're like both blue team. We're like going in. And I think she got in our faces. I remember the hostility. My body remembers the hostility. Like, "Don't call me a liar." But we're like, "But you lied."
I like screaming at you?
Maybe not screaming. She wasn't a screamer. She was more like a growler. She was like, "Don't call me a liar."
Good Lord, that sounds almost demonic. And how old were you and Cravey?
I want to say, trying to remember, I want to say maybe I was 7, she was 6.
Okay.
And after that, we did not. I think we teamed up maybe one other time, but it's faint in memory, so I don't think it matters. But that was the significant time that we teamed up, and we never teamed up against her again.
Okay.
So I believe that we were engineered to not team up, because my mom said when we were younger, we would get along very, very well. So I always asked her, like, what happened? What happened? Why did we stop? She said I tricked my sister to putting a bead up her nose, and that made my sister have to go to the hospital. And after that, me and my sister were never on the same team anymore. But I feel like that's
Sorry, you put a bead up her nose.
sorry. I apparently me and her were in the playroom because we had a multiple bedroom apartment, like 3 bedroom, and the extra bedroom was the playroom. And me and her were alone in the playroom, and there was one of the beads that mom used to put in her hair. Somehow I have acquired it, or my sister acquired it, and I dared her to put it up her nose. She put it up her nose too far that she was freaking out, screaming. My mom comes into the room, and this is all from word of mouth of my mom because I don't remember any of this. And we had to go to the hospital so they would get out her nose. Mom said after that, me and Cravey were never cool again.
And you were how old?
That was still around the same age but younger. So maybe 5 and 4.
So you at 4 dared your sister to put the bead up her nose, and she ended up in hospital.
Me at 5, because the middle sister, I'm the oldest. So
Oh, sorry. Yeah. You at 5, she's 4. Okay, got it. Okay. And of course, it would be up to your mother to make sure that that relationship doesn't go bad, right?
100% agree.
And she didn't do that.
Correct. To my anger, to my hatred, correct. I feel all the
Okay.
emotion. And I called them out too. That's one of the reasons why I think some of my explaining is always, I called them both out. I called up my whole family. I grilled into my family with power drill. And they made up excuses, and they dug up all these excuses. And it's crazy because I did this before I even listened to your show, and you said do all these things. And I was like, hell yeah, I'm already on that path. And I just got the excuses. So I was like, all right, y'all. Well, I'm moving far away. And deuces, I'm going to get married. I'm going to have a kid. I'm going to raise my kid. I'm going to do it well. And then I'm going to show you guys that all you guys just make excuses. Maybe.
Well, good for you. I'm sorry about the circumstances, but good for you. And what's the status of your relationship with your family of origin at the moment?
Distant. On Facebook, they'll yell at me for things I say. I take some of your quotes, actually, because for some reason, people, I hate it. People don't, if I talk about you, and I say this and that, like you say these good things, they're like, oh, he's a white guy, or he's a white supremacist. I'm like, bro, like, okay, I'm a black supremacist. What does that make me? They're like, oh, yeah. So I just take your quotes, some things you say, and I post it, and a lot of people will like it. But I'll have family that I'll say maybe some political things, and they'll just lose their mind. They won't even argue with me collectively. They'll just be like, for background, my family's mixed, half white, half black. My mom is half white, half black, and I am mostly black because my dad's black. So is my sister.
I'm trying to avoid the cliche of the black criminal father, but I'm afraid we have not managed to skate around that thin ice on this conversation. I'm sorry about that. I mean, I like going counter cliches, but we're not able to get there today. Sorry, go ahead.
No. It's absolutely no. I listened to your show and I heard about that. I was like, dude, it's so true. It's so true. It's gross, and it's my whole family. And it's like, can we please stop picking thugs? Come on. And it's just the
Right.
whole way down. And grandpa, and just like, come on. Are you serious right now? So yeah, I know. And I hand it to everybody. They say the same thing. Like, okay, you're the mostly black son of the criminal dad. I'm like, yeah, and he used to call me from prison to yell at me
Oh,
for things
man.
that weren't even my fault. So, yes.
And what's the ethnicity of your sister?
Native American. Oh wait, sorry. You mean the middle or the?
No, not the adopted one. The one your mother had with the photographer.
Black. She's darker than me. I don't know if that's relevant, but there used to be a stream in the family, which is like I'm like middle tone, and then my middle sister's darkest, and then the native one switches between her skin tone switches between light and dark. So
What? What is she, a disco ball? What are you talking about?
it happens to my son too. It's weird. So my native sister would switch. Her skin tone would sometimes be like darker than mine, and we're like, "What is going on?" And
Oh, you mean like tan or summer? Or?
I would say that I would say it was a summer tan thing, but I don't feel like tans would happen that strongly to make her darker than me. Like, you should not
Alright.
be getting that dark. You're native. You should not be getting that dark because of a simple sunlight. Like,
Right.
It was like interesting.
Okay, got it. So your sister is darker than you, right?
Yes, middle sister Cravey's darker than me. And then,
And was she was the one who initiated a lot of violence?
absolutely.
Come on, man. Give me an escape from these cliches. You've got to help me out.
Sorry, brother. Sorry. I've been trying to escape from these cliches too. Oh, I've been trying my whole life. Oh,
And so your family is like putting you down a lot, like family of origin and so on?
let's see. Can I give an example? It's more like dismissive. Um, so like cousins are more putting me down, but the older ones, the aunts, the uncles, it's more dismissive.
Right. And you said you live far away from everyone, is that right?
Correct. To not give too much details.
No, don't give any details at all. Don't give any details at all. But and what is the value? And I'm not saying there isn't any. I'm just kind of curious what there is. What is the value of having this dismissive or contemptuous family of origin in your orbit in your life?
They're not much in the orbit, but the value that I get on it. This is gonna be interesting how it sounds to you. I want to shit on them. I want to shit on them all.
Okay. Right. Yeah, vengeance, right? Like get back.
Oh yeah. Oh, I want to flex. I want to show them that a good family can happen, and I want to show
Right.
them that they're full of crap. That, like a good excuse that a lot of people give that my family kind of gave too is like you need to spank children, you need to hit children. I was hit with belts. Like you need to do these things. Blah blah blah. And I'm like, nope.
So your mother hit you with belts.
Absolutely.
Okay. Okay, I'm sorry about that. That's awful
I
stuff.
appreciate that.
But sorry, yeah, you wanna flex and you wanna strut and be the good family guy, right? And
Yeah, I
saying it's
wanna be the
possible,
good
it's not
dad.
inevitable.
Yeah, I want to show the family that you guys want to keep picking thugs and you want to keep acting like this and that. Like, look, it can happen. The real juice can happen. The good things can happen. You can have a loving family. You can have a good relationship with your child without ever having to hit him. You can have all these great things. And they never said verbally that I can't. In the family, I feel like it's in my bones, like it's in the stream of my blood. That non-verbally, that's what's being pushed.
Right. And so if I understand this, I don't want to put words in your mouth, my friend, but I think you want to show that a life without excuses is better than a life with excuses.
Heck yeah.
Okay. You want to win.
Ooh, I want to win. Thought of it that
You wanna
way.
win?
Yeah, I guess so. I guess I want to win.
Listen, I'd be the last person. I won't get into my own personal details here because it's about you, not me. I'd be the last person in the world to say you should never ever want to win against your family of origin if they're dysfunctional. It's not a tiny motivation in the work that I've done. So I'm not going to nag at you or crab at you. Not that you would care if I did, but I'm not going to do that anyway. So yeah, so you want to win. You want to be victorious. You want to be. You know, I go to the gym and exercise, and you want to end up with a better life than, cousin couch potato, right?
Absolutely, I did. I went to the gym for the whole year. For a whole year, I had a gym subscription. I decided for a whole year I was going to go to the gym. Yeah, I usually win in life. Sounds kind of weird to say out loud, but usually my whole life I've been a winner, and I try not to have a big ego about it. But also, I think you said your wife studies psychology. When I was younger, about
Oh, no, she practiced psychology for
practice.
25 years, yeah.
Amazing. Wonderful. I got into psychology when I was very young. No, I shouldn't say that. I want to say safely 14. I started really taking psychology seriously. And takeaway that I get is that I don't think we choose our motivations. I think they choose us. And I think when someone tries to fight what motivates them, they get stuck in life, as I see with a lot of my friends. So have you seen the first Harry Potter by chance?
I have.
Do you remember the wand scene where he gets his first wand?
The one choose him, right?
Correct. That's how I feel about people's motivations. I think our motivations are like the wand, and it chooses us. And I think people try to fight that motivation. I think my motivation is actually hatred. Do with that what
No,
you
I get
will,
that.
because I don't. Because that's just what I feel. And I was like, maybe having hatred as a motivation, maybe that's bad. Maybe that's wrong.
Well, it's sort of like, so what I would suggest, and again, I sympathize and understand, and none of this is any big criticism, it's just if your goal as a runner is to be faster than the slowest runner, you're only going to be able to run so fast. So if your goal in life is to be better than the worst around and to win against them, there's going to be a ceiling on the virtues that you can achieve.
Can you explain that in further detail, please?
Well, if I want to be more honest than a pathological liar, that's kind of a low bar, right?
More honest than a pathological liar. Yes, I'm understanding. Yeah, that's interesting.
Now, if I want to be more honest than the most honest person I know, I have a higher standard, right?
More honest than the most honest person you know? Is that what you said?
Yeah.
Higher standard.
Yeah, that's a higher standard, right? Right. I mean, it's sort of the Ben Shapiro at universities where, Ben Shapiro, who is like a very trained and skilled debater and has been doing it for decades, goes up against some, 18-year-old kid who's been propagandized his whole life, right?
Yes.
That's not much of a debate, if that makes any sense.
Oh.
It'd be like me going to high schools or first-year universities and talking about philosophy, right? I mean, it would be a pretty, I prefer it. Like I had some professor of philosophy call in and take me to task on UPB. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that I prefer. And so, who you measure yourself against is how far you go in life. So if you have a broke family and you say, well, I make, my mother made $20,000 a year, I make $60,000 a year, so I'm doing really well, then your motivation is going to fall off because you're just doing so much better than 20K a year. However, if you say, I'm going to compare myself against people who make $200,000 a year, therefore I've got a long way to go, that's going to have a different effect on your motivation. Who you compare yourself to is where your ceiling is. And I think you might be kind of fishing in a bathtub here because, what's they call it, shooting fish in a barrel or something like that. Because I think you want to, at some point, start comparing yourself to people who can really challenge you to be better rather than comparing yourself to people whose life are confusing messes and you're obviously doing way better than them, right?
Wow. Yeah, that was great. Yes, because I also compete in sports. Don't do sports as much anymore. I wish I did. I do competitive video games with friends. We'll meet up online and we'll battle people. And I'm trying way harder than the whole team. And I'm getting upset sometimes because their bar's lower than mine. And that makes sense. Who they're comparing themselves to is lower. And I'm doing everything to win. I'm doing call outs. I'm helping. I'm healing people, checking up on people. Oh, wow. Yeah. What you said makes big time sense. And maybe my bar.
Well, you don't want your kids to grow up saying, well, I'm better than my dad's messed up family. You want them to grow up saying, I want to be even better than my father. I want to be, you want to set your goals and your sights as high as humanly possible. And not necessarily just, and again, listen, I understand it. It's just a little tweak here, but to compare yourself to your messed up family is going to limit your potential because you're going to feel like you're way ahead. Like if I'm going to the gym and I'm not going to compare myself to the 250-pound guy who's there at the gym on his first day. I'm doing more weights than him. I want to compare myself to the strongest guy, and that's going to give me the greatest motivation.
You're right. I do that in sports. I do that in gaming, but I don't when it comes to my family. It's not a good enough equivalency. Yeah, that makes sense.
I have to grit my teeth sometimes to make myself not check up on people from my youth to see how I'm doing relative to them. And I'm pushing 60, bro. Like I have no excuse for it at all. I've got a really great life, and yet, a comparison. They say, comparison is the thief of joy. It's like, man, we're social animals. Of course, we're going to compare ourselves to others. I'm not going to compare myself to a flamingo, right? So yeah, there is that comparison element, but it can be great to say, I don't want this. I want to be better than this. But I think at some point, it sounds like you're cruising ahead in life, and at some point, you might want to let go of the low standard that you're measuring yourself against and replace it with a higher standard to give you more motivation to vault up.
You're right. I have to shift gears because you're right. Just like I do the same thing. Well, I do try to resist looking back on friends and some ex-flings be like, "Oh, their life doing," and it's like it's all bad for them. It's all crap. It's drug use. It's addiction. It's homelessness. It's dating the most horrible people on earth with the biggest red flags. Like this entire person's face is a skeleton tattoo. Does that send you any clues? And just holy crap. And when I was homeschooled as a kid, and people said I would be dumb because I'm homeschooled. Oh, you're gonna be stupid. You're homeschooled. You're gonna be inept. You're homeschooled. And then years later, I'm like, I'm doing better than all of you. Like, you guys want to kiss my toes? Because you guys said I was gonna be dumb. You guys said that I was gonna fall back. Look at all of you. You're right. I need to stop comparing the same way that I've been comparing, and I need to switch gears.
I think you've outgrown that, and there's a couple of stages of comparison: doing better than the worst, doing better than the average, doing better than the best, and then there's attempting to approach the ideal standards.
Yes.
I could say, well, I'm more honest than some family member in my past. It's like, yeah, but where am I in relation to the ideal of honesty? And that's what I sort of try to measure myself against now, because sort of human standards have their own frailties, and human standards in a sense give you excuses and perhaps even a false sense of achievement, because we need to keep building on our achievements, and if we're still comparing ourselves to those we originated from, then it's easy to feel that we're ahead relative to the past, which is great, but we want to be ahead relative to ideals or approaching the ideals. And obviously you're a very intelligent young man with an enormous amount of potential, and I would say the anchor of comparison is probably limiting you from ascending. What's that, the new phrase from Cliff Achille? To ascend.
Yes. Ascend. That also comes from another game I love called Castlevania, which is about ascending. And it goes into God of War because he tells his son, be better than me. Because Kratos did all these horrible things and killed all these gods and all these giants, and he gets on one knee and he says, no, be better. And if that means being better than me, then do it. And I agree. Yeah, I do want my son to be better than me. And if he says, Dad, I'm better than you, I'm going to say, great. I'm going to say fantastic.
Oh, yeah. All right, brother. Well, listen, I appreciate the call. I'm going to close off now because I probably should get some food. And really appreciate the call. I'm really, really sorry about this childhood. And I completely understand the excuse making, but it may be time. You don't want to have your kids hear excuses because they'll internalize that. And I try to not give myself excuses and not those around me excuses. Because I don't want my kid internalizing that. But again, these are just minor tweaks. You're obviously doing fantastically well, and I really appreciate hearing how the show has, to whatever degree it has, helped you with that. And that's just a wonderful thing to hear. So thank you, everybody, so much. Have yourself a glorious day, and we will talk to you soon. I've got a presentation coming up about Iran, not the song from A Flock of Seagulls, but the slightly more vivid flight of rocket stuff that's going on. Sorry, Dirk, we'll have to get you next time, but we've had a good old long show, and lots of love for everyone up here. My friends, thank you for your time. freedomain.com/donate to help out the show. Keep us commercial free. I think it's very important. All the best. Goodbye.